The energy on the planet has shifted dramatically in the last couple of years and has now accelerated in a way never before seen or experienced by us down here. And all these rapid shifts can make your body and your whole system feel like you're going boom. The truth is, a spiritual awakening feels very differently right now than it did just a couple of years ago, but we can easily learn how to work with the new energy on the planet so that our awakenings can go much more smoothly and with ease. In this video, you'll learn the 2 ways in which a spiritual awakening is different right now than it was before. Then we're going to get into how the new energy is affecting you. And then I'm going to share my top 7 tips that you can use right now to help your spiritual awakening flow more easily. Coming up. Heart Alchemy is now officially open! Hello, beautiful soul. That intro that you just saw is for my premium coaching program, Heart Alchemy, which opens its enrollment doors today, February 1st. The enrollment doors for Heart Alchemy will be open until February 7th, Monday, which is when the course officially starts. Heart Alchemy is an 8-week program that contains my most in-depth videos, tools, and practices that I share nowhere else. Aside from having weekly video modules and practices that you can follow along easily, Heart Alchemy is also the only place where I have weekly group coaching calls and healing sessions with people so that we can connect live and really get to some major breakthroughs. If you're ready to work with me on a deep level, help accelerate your spiritual awakening and your healing, consider joining us in Heart Alchemy. Click on the link below where you can join us up until February 7th. I only open Heart Alchemy once a year, so if you're feeling a pull to be a part of the 2022 class, it would be an honor to welcome you there. On to part 1 of the video, how a spiritual awakening is different right now. So there are 2 main ways in which a spiritual awakening is different right now, especially from 2022 onward. And it's come kind of on the heels of this collective purge that we've been going through for a couple of years since the start of the COVID pandemic, really, okay? And so the first way in which a spiritual awakening is different, it's called the crystalline energy. It has to do with the crystalline energy. So what is crystalline energy? So the planet basically is being bathed by a new energy, and it's called a crystalline energy. And it's called that's the name for this energy that's really, really high vibration, very, very pure. And what's interesting about crystalline energy that's bathing the planet is that it feels very much, to me, crystalline energy feels very angelic. It feels like an angel. Okay, so if you've ever worked with the angelic realm, angels are very, very high, pure vibration, and their vibration is so pure primarily because they've never incarnated in physical reality. For the most part, angels don't incarnate. And so they don't pick up on the human karma or on the heaviness of human experience. They can maintain their vibration very, very, very high. And that's essentially what crystalline energy is. It's so high and it is so pure, and it's basically bathing the entire planet right now. We're being bathed in this beautiful energy. Now, this is great news because it means that we're being bathed with higher and higher vibration energy. But the downside of that, or the flip side of that coin, is that when you have an inundation of crystalline energy, when this much crystalline energy enters the planet, it can be challenging for our human selves to be able to incorporate that energy. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a little while. The second way in which a spiritual awakening is different right now has to do with the acceleration of energy. So because there's more crystalline energy coming in, that energy is so high vibration, and really what is meant by high vibration is that the energy is accelerated. So the higher you go in vibration, the more accelerated, the faster that energy moves. And so that's what's happening. As that crystalline energy is coming in, the energy is getting much more accelerated. Now, the positive side of that is that when I have accelerated energy, it means that things move faster. And I've had so many people, I don't know if this has been the case for you, but I've had so many people say to me that they experience this acceleration in energy by it feeling like time is moving faster. So I don't know if you've been experiencing this lately, but it feels like things are happening faster, like time is moving faster. And that's because of the acceleration of this new energy. So the wonderful thing about accelerated energy is that things happen faster. You are able to materialize your dreams faster. You manifest things faster because of this natural acceleration of the energy. The flip side of that coin is that that also means that a lot of things come up to be healed faster, and that you can process those things faster. And so sometimes with all of that material, all of that subconscious material, all of your wounds coming up very fast, that can be a challenge on the system too. All right. So these are the top 2 ways in which a spiritual awakening is different now than it was before. The concentration of crystalline energy is much higher on the planet, and the energy is more accelerated than it ever has been before. On to part 2 of the video, how the new energy affects you. Okay, so there are multiple ways in which this crystalline energy plus accelerated energy, there's multiple ways in which this can affect us as humans, but there's one particular place where that's really having an effect right now, and that's what I want to talk about in this video. Okay, so the increase in crystalline energy and accelerated energy is having a major effect on one part of you, and that is called the nervous system. Your nervous system is really on overdrive during this crystalline energy, accelerated energy coming onto the planet. And when that happens, the nervous system, you have to remember, here's an important side note about the nervous system. The nervous system is the mediator between spirit and matter. The nervous system picks up on spiritual impulses or quantum impulses or non-physical impulses and turns them into physical impulses. So the reason that you can translate or pick up quantum energy and turn it into physical things that you can see and touch and hear is because the nervous system translates that information for you. So your nervous system is super important spiritually. And when the energies start to accelerate and we get bombarded with more crystalline energy, your nervous system becomes a lot more sensitized. It can go into overdrive, actually, and go into a little bit of overdrive. And so the primary thing, pro tip for you, ding, ding, pro tip, the primary thing for you to remember right now in 2022 and beyond, in these new energies of awakening, the primary thing for you to remember is you must keep your nervous system calm, okay? Nervous system relaxation is very, very important right now when you're going through a spiritual awakening. It was before, but now this has taken on even more importance because we're being bombarded with a higher concentration of light that we never were before. And so calming the nervous system is of utmost importance right now because it's being bombarded with all of this new elevated high intensity energy. It can be very easy for your nervous system to be a little bit on overdrive. All right. So very, very important. This is the primary way in which your spiritual awakening is being affected right now, is through the hyperactivation of the nervous system. On to part 3 of the video, tips for your awakening. So now that you know that the planet's being bombarded with higher concentrations of what's known as crystalline energy, and that crystalline energy is really accelerated, and that this combination of crystalline and acceleration has an effect on your nervous system, I'm going to get into the top 7 tips that I have for you. And, this isn't a rocket science, but these 7 tips are specifically designed to calm your nervous system, which is exactly what you need to do right now. All right. So the first tip that I want to give you is foot massage. Okay. Now, this isn't a regular foot massage. Okay. So there's something interesting happens. Your nervous system tends to be more nerve endings on your extremities. So your feet, your hands, especially your hands and your fingertips, that's the highest concentration of nerves in the human body. But your feet also has a ton of nerve endings, and specifically the bottom of your feet also has mini chakras or energy points. It has meridian points, which are also energy superhighways. and there's a lot of them in the bottom of the feet. When the nervous system gets on overdrive, something interesting happens. You'll start to pull away. The bottom of the feet will become really, really jammed with energy, and your nervous system will want to pull away or retract. So an example of this, when I was going through a really difficult phase in my life, my nervous system was all over the place. I was going through huge spiritual upgrades. And I remember one day in the middle of this tumultuous time in my life, I was taking a shower. And I just sensed, I had my eyes closed and I was, shampooing my hair, and I felt my feet. I was not standing on my feet, completely on my feet. My feet were twisted kind of sideways. And I remember I noticed it. I was standing on the edges of my feet instead of having both feet grounded on the ground with the full bottom of my foot touching the ground. And I noticed this. And I started to understand that my feet were doing that because my nervous system was so agitated, it was withdrawing from stimuli. And so this foot massage is specific to ground the nervous system and calm it. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit in what's known as the butterfly position on the floor, and you're going to just apply pressure with your hands onto your feet, specifically using your thumbs to kind of put pressure on the bottoms of your feet. And you're just going to move around the bottoms of your feet with your thumbs. When you get to areas that are more sensitive, you're going to hold your thumb there, and you're just going to really apply good pressure to the bottoms of your feet. The more that you do this, you may actually feel an immediate relaxation of your nervous system by just doing this. Okay, so that's the first tip: a deep foot massage. Pressing your thumbs into the bottoms of your feet is going to be very, very helpful to ground that nervous system. On to the second tip, which is gentle touch. Now, gentle touch works really, really well to calm the nervous system. And that's literally, you're just going to stroke your body nice and gently throughout your whole body. The nervous system responds so well to gentle touch. And here's a pro tip, all right? So ding, ding. The pro tip is focus on your arms and your chest. This works really, really well. So when I feel like my nervous system is agitated, I'll literally just stroke from up down on my chest, and I'll add a mantra. There's a pro tip for you. Add mantras as you're doing the touch. And I'll add a mantra like, everything is okay, everything is all right. And I'll just speak in this very soothing way as I'm stroking my chest. And also I like to do it on my arms. It works really, really well to immediately calm your nervous system. It's something that you can use very, very quickly. And it's something that you can do even, when you're coming out of the shower and you're moisturizing your body. You can just gently speak to your body in a very compassionate way using gentle touch. This really, really works to calm the nervous system down very quickly. Tip number 3 is gentle stretches. So when your nervous system is really active, it can cause a lot of tightness in the muscles. So your muscles can get tight, they can get sore, they can almost feel inflamed sometimes. And so the gentle stretches work really, really well to not only soothe your muscles, but also calm that nervous system down. I love to do gentle stretches with my night routine. So right before I go to bed, I do a night meditation. I turn off the lights in my house. I get some candles going, and maybe I'll use some sacred smoke. I'll put some music on, some calm music, and I'll just sit down on the floor and I'll start doing some gentle stretches throughout my body, wherever my body feels tight. Okay, and I'll do that for a while, then I do a meditation, and then I go to bed. Okay, so incorporate gentle stretches, especially at night, but you could do it more than once a day. Incorporate gentle, long stretches in your routine to kind of keep those muscles open, keep your body relaxed. The more that your muscles are relaxed, the more your meridians and your energy points can flow energy, and your nervous system will just stay calm. Tip number 4 is deep breathing. Now, specifically here, in my videos, I've shared deep breathing techniques before, like Wim Hof or pranayama breathing, and those are great breathing techniques. But the Wim Hof breathing, or there are some breathing techniques that really just pump you up with energy, and they're more fiery in their energy. Okay. And that'll actually, activate the nervous system even more. So for this particular piece about calming your nervous system, the type of deep breathing that I like to use is very simple. It's very slow breathing. It's circular. So you breathe in and then you breathe out. And you're going to get to a point, what you're going to do is the breathing in is slow, the breathing out is slow. And here is the $1 million pro tip for you here. And that is that when you breathe in and you release the breath, you're going to let the breath go all the way out until there's no oxygen left in your lungs. And then you're going to hold at the bottom. Okay, so you're going to pause when your lungs are out of air, and you're just going to pause there for as long as your lungs want to until your lungs feel like breathing again. This pause on the exhale, at the end of the exhale when your lungs don't have any oxygen, this pause specifically activates what's known as your vagus nerve. And that's it's one of the biggest nerves in the body, but it's a primary nerve of what's known as the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the nervous system, a part of your nervous system that is calm, okay, that brings calmness and relaxation. When you do these long breaths, pausing at the bottom of the exhale, it's a very simple technique, but it's a technique that will immediately fire that vagus nerve, and you're going to feel an immediate relaxation of the nervous system. Tip number 5 is called hand earthing. Now, I've talked about earthing in my videos before, and earthing, traditionally what earthing is taking your shoes off, taking your socks off, and just walking on the bare earth with just your feet directly contacting the bare earth. That's called earthing. But there's another type of earthing that is super, super relaxing for the nervous system, and that's hand earthing. So what you're going to do in hand earthing, remember, your feet have a lot of meridian points and a lot of mini chakras, but so do your hands. And when you earth with your hands, it brings a different level of grounding and immediate relaxation to your nervous system. So what you're going to do is you're going to get down on your hands and knees, and you're going to just, and if you could do this on the bare earth, like if you have a backyard or a lawn or some grass, or you can just put your hands on the bare earth versus on a linoleum floor or on the carpet, that's even better. So that's a pro tip. Get your hands outside on the actual earth. And what you're going to do, you'll get on your hands and knees, and you'll just start slowly pounding the earth with your hands. And then what you're going to do is you can actually shift your weight forward. Instead of having your weight shifted back on your knees, shift your weight forward onto your hands so you're applying more pressure to it, and just close your eyes and stay there and feel the earth. If you're in a backyard scenario, or if you're in a place that has dirt, you can actually sink your hands into the dirt and grab onto it. It's a great, great exercise for calming the nervous system down, and it works wonders, and it works very quickly. Tip number 6 is to stay optimistic. So what happens when we're going through these really fast upgrades, and that's why your nervous system is really sensitized right now, as we're going through these energetic upgrades, there's a part of us that sometimes pulls us back, and that's the mental body, or the mind, at the level of the mind. The mental body is one of the layers of your aura, which is the energy field that surrounds your body, and it's associated with your mind. Okay, so if your mind goes into constant pessimistic negative loops, it's almost like the mental part of you is pulling you down while your nervous system and the rest of you is pulling you up into this beautiful crystalline energy. So it's really important to stay optimistic right now. So be aware of the negative loops, of the apocalyptic scenarios, of the negativity that goes on in your mind, and just catch it and divert your attention to a more optimistic outlook. Sometimes this can be a little bit difficult if you're stuck in a negative loop and you just keep going down and down and down. But the good news here is that when you're in a negative loop, in a negative mind loop, your nervous system is going to tell you immediately in these new energies, because your nervous system is already overly sensitized. And if you get into these mental loops, it'll agitate your nervous system even more. So here's a good trick for you to use, a little bit of a pro tip here. And the pro tip is that when you feel yourself getting more nervous or more agitated, more anxious, check out what you were thinking about. Okay? And if you catch yourself going into these negative loops, downward spiraling loops, Just stop, take a nice deep breath, and you can even repeat some mantras. Everything is okay. All is well. And I remember that when I was going through some really rough patches in my spiritual awakening, I was in the dark night, I was going through all kinds of things. And I remember that I held this optimistic outlook the whole time, in the sense that no matter what I was going through, I always knew that whatever I was going through was preparing me for higher energy. And I always kept that in the back of my mind. So I could always see the light at the end of the tunnel. And sometimes there's a mantra that I used a lot in these more difficult, challenging times when I was going through my spiritual awakening. And it was the mantra, this too shall pass. No matter what difficulties or challenges I was going through, I would just say, this too shall pass. And I could hold on to that optimistic outlook no matter what was happening in my present moment. That's really important for us right now, to just be aware of negativity that we have in our minds and being able to just release it, to just give it to the universe. Another way that I like doing this is I'll get into the prayer meditation, the prayer yoga position, which is down on your knees and your hands down and your forehead to the ground. And I'll get in that prayer position and I will just say to the universe, I release all of the negativity from my mind. My forehead is already touching the ground. And so it's a great visualization to just kind of visualize all of the negativity, all of the kind of negative loops that I have, the negative beliefs, the demeaning beliefs or disempowering beliefs. I just give them all to the earth. And I visualize them coming out of my forehead and into the earth. That's another great way to do this. But the point here is that it's really important to stay optimistic right now. The more optimistic you are, the more your nervous system will stay calm as can be through these fast transitions, okay? So remember this, be optimistic, stay optimistic no matter what challenges you're going through. Remember to see the light at the end of the tunnel and know that this too shall pass, and that whatever challenges you're going through right now are preparing you for higher energy. The seventh and last tip is to gentle yourself, okay? This is super important right now too, is to just be so gentle, so kind with yourself. The more gentle you are with yourself, the more your nervous system stays calm. Now, another way of saying this is to call more on your feminine energy, which is already inherently that nurturing energy that we have within us, the yin energy, and relax your masculine energy more. Don't let that masculine get into aggressive hustle, doing, action energy right now, because it's only going to activate or agitate the nervous system more, okay? So rely more on your gentle, feminine, nurturing energy and have that masculine energy relax a little bit more. And this may mean that you do things a little bit slower, or maybe you pull back on constant action and you prioritize what you really need to do in a day and what you don't need to do in a day. You prioritize that so that you move more mindfully and more slowly through your days, especially as you're going through these shifts and your nervous system is sensitized, okay? Now, if you want to go deeper on how to relax your masculine energy, I've done a whole video on masculine energy. I've done one on feminine energy also. So I've done one on both energies. The masculine energy video is going to help you relax that masculine energy. The feminine energy video is going to help you bring up your feminine energy, which we've kind of lost this wisdom of working with feminine energy. So those two videos, I'm going to leave links in the description box below so that you can watch after watching this one to help relax that masculine energy, gentle yourself, and learn how to work more with feminine energy in these times. Now I want to hear from you. Which one of these tips that I discussed in this video was your favorite? I want to hear all about it in the comments below. Click here to subscribe to my YouTube channel or head over to my website where you can join us in Heart Alchemy up until February 7th. And don't forget these two videos that I talked about, masculine and feminine energy. That's going to be great for you to continue viewing. All right, beautiful soul, that's it for me. I love you. I'm out.